Semen retention, the silent fire, mastering yourself to inspire respect and connection. Every man carries within him a silent fire, an invisible current that fuels thought, drive, and presence. In older cultures, this current was described as oyas or vital essence. Today, we recognize it as a blend of hormones, focus, and emotional energy. Semen retention, when understood as a practice of self-discipline rather than denial, teaches a man to manage that current consciously. Modern life constantly drains attention through screens and instant stimulation. The practice reverses that flow. By choosing restraint, a man begins to redirect energy from compulsive release into creation, clarity, and purpose. This inner decision reshapes posture, voice, and attitude, the very signals that communicate strength and composure in social life. Biologically, the act of restraint steadies the hormonal rhythm. Testosterone, the hormone linked to motivation, assertiveness, and vitality, responds best to stability. When sleep, exercise, nutrition, and moderated sexual behavior align, the body maintains a healthier hormonal baseline. The result is not a miraculous surge, but a sustainable drive that supports mental endurance. High but balanced testosterone correlates with sharper focus and goal-oriented behavior, while chronic overstimulation and stress do the opposite. The modern man who trains his impulses therefore enjoys clearer mornings, more consistent energy, and an alert mind ready to act rather than react. That clarity changes how he moves through the world. Retention gradually teaches patience and mental stillness, which are rare qualities in a culture built on urgency. Because he no longer seeks quick reward, he starts to value long-term progress. The book finished, the business built, the skill mastered. His confidence becomes quiet and self-sustaining. People around him notice a steadiness that feels magnetic. Women, in particular, often interpret this centered composure as maturity and reliability. Attraction emerges naturally from balance, not performance. A man who respects his own energy radiates respect outward, and others respond in kind. Psychologically, each day of self-control rewires the brain's reward system. Dopamine, the neurotransmitter that governs motivation, begins to favor purpose over distraction. What once triggered restlessness now triggers creativity. The man feels compelled to train, learn, or build. This neurochemical shift explains why those who practice disciplined living, whether through meditation, sport, or sexual restraint, often describe a deeper sense of momentum. Their energy no longer leaks through small indulgences. It accumulates into visible confidence. That confidence is the real source of magnetism that draws others. Not any mystical aura, but the biological expression of coherence between mind and body. Attraction then becomes an honest mirror of inner order. Women are naturally attuned to nonverbal signals of security, focus, and integrity. A man who governs his impulses without fear or arrogance projects safety and strength simultaneously, the twin signals that foster both respect and desire. His eye contact holds attention, not through dominance but through calm certainty. His conversations carry weight because he listens rather than chases validation. In social settings, he feels neither needy nor detached. He simply stands present. This equilibrium communicates abundance. He is full within himself, not seeking completion from another. Semen retention also cultivates empathy when practiced with awareness. By stepping away from compulsive gratification, a man learns to value emotional intimacy over conquest. The same energy that once sought release turns inward as curiosity. What do I really want to build? Whom do I want to serve or love? This introspection refines masculine energy from mere aggression into creative responsibility. Relationships formed from this state feel grounded. Attraction deepens into mutual respect. In a world saturated with surface attention, depth becomes irresistible. Practically, the lifestyle that supports this discipline looks simple, but powerful: consistent sleep, strength training, clean food, sunlight, meditation, journaling, creative work, and purposeful rest. Each element reinforces hormonal balance and mental clarity. The goal is not suppression but flow, channeling energy through the body rather than dissipating it. Some men practice specific breathing or yogic techniques to move that vitality upward along the spine. Others simply stay active and focused. What matters is intention, using life force to build life rather than waste it. Over time, the man practicing retention discovers a subtle joy in restraint itself. The energy that once demanded expression transforms into calm enthusiasm. Challenges feel lighter because he trusts his own endurance. Setbacks become feedback rather than failure. This emotional steadiness is what gives successful people their unshakable presence. The sense that they belong wherever they stand. Whether leading a team, pursuing art, or entering a relationship, this internal fire glows quietly beneath every action. Importantly, semen retention should remain a choice, not a prison. The aim is mastery, not repression. Healthy sexuality expressed with awareness strengthens intimacy. Abstinence practiced with fear weakens it. True power lies in flexibility, the ability to engage or abstain with equal peace. When the practice serves growth, it uplifts. When it becomes ego or obsession, it drains. The wise man knows when to hold and when to release, when to speak and when to remain silent. In the end, the silent fire is not about controlling the world but harmonizing with it. The energy preserved through conscious living becomes the same energy that creates art, leads communities, and nurtures love. Women and men alike feel drawn to such integrity because it reflects balance between desire and direction. Semen retention, understood rightly, is simply a path toward that balance. It is the discipline of turning raw biological power into creative purpose. The man who walks this path doesn't chase attraction. He becomes it steady, luminous, and alive in a way that needs no explanation. In every era, men have sought mastery over their own impulses, what ancient yogis called brahmacharya, or energy preservation. Modern psychology calls self-regulation the capacity to delay gratification for something greater. Beneath the language differences lies the same truth. When a man learns to direct his biological fire rather than scatter it, something fundamental in his demeanor begins to change. His eyes focus differently, his posture steadies, and his drive acquires an almost electrical intensity. This isn't magic, it's biology mixed with awareness. Testosterone, the primary male hormone, fuels confidence, motivation, and assertive behavior. How we live, rest, eat, and manage our sexual habits influences how that hormone performs. In the overstimulated digital age, many men are learning that mastery isn't about suppression but about intelligent redirection. The male body is a biochemical symphony, and testosterone is its rhythm of vitality. It regulates muscle growth, energy metabolism, mood, and cognitive sharpness. Healthy levels support clear decision-making, quick recovery, and the unmistakable air of self-trust that others perceive as charisma. Modern research shows testosterone naturally fluctuates. It peaks in the morning, dips under chronic stress, and rises with quality sleep, resistance training, sunlight, and emotional fulfillment. Contrary to viral myths, semen retention by itself doesn't create limitless testosterone. Rather, restraint practiced alongside a disciplined lifestyle can stabilize hormonal balance and prevent the exhaustion that comes from compulsive stimulation. The gain is not a sudden surge, but a steadier inner current that sustains momentum. Focus is the first visible reward of this steadiness. Every dopamine spike from constant scrolling or casual pleasure fragments attention. But each act of restraint trains the nervous system to hold longer spans of concentration. A man who manages his impulses develops neural endurance, the ability to stay with discomfort until it becomes fuel. From athletes to entrepreneurs, the pattern repeats. Consistency requires chemistry, working in harmony with discipline. When testosterone functions optimally, it sharpens the prefrontal cortex's drive circuits, making long-term goals feel not only possible but urgent. That's why high-performing men often describe their best seasons as times of inner clarity rather than mere motivation. Success, in its deepest sense, follows from that clarity. The world often mistakes aggression for power, yet biology reminds us that true dominance is calm control. Testosterone supports assertiveness but pairs best with oxytocin, the bonding hormone activated through empathy and purpose. The combination forms what psychologists call stable confidence, ambition without anxiety. Men who nurture this balance tend to lead effectively, pursue mastery rather than validation, and attract trust in professional or intimate circles. Their energy feels anchored, not restless. This is the modern interpretation of the old yogic teaching that vital force, once contained, becomes Oj's radiant presence. In daily life, that presence translates into habits. A man protecting his energy often wakes early, trains his body, and eats mindfully, not out of vanity, but because he senses feedback between biology and destiny. His routines become rituals, each repetition lifting weights, reading before sleep. Choosing focus over distractions sends hormonal signals, reinforcing identity. I am capable, disciplined, alive. Gradually, dopamine pathways rewire to associate satisfaction with progress, not indulgence. The same chemical, once hijacked by impulse, becomes an ally in creation. That neuroplastic shift explains why disciplined men report higher motivation and emotional resilience. They have taught the brain to crave growth. From this steadiness flows another phenomenon often labeled attraction. Women, like men, are sensitive to subconscious cues of hormonal and emotional coherence. Good posture, resonant voice tone, and calm eye contact all correlate with balanced endocrine and nervous systems. Attraction, then, isn't mystical radiation from retention but the outward signature of health and presence. A man at ease with his impulses communicates safety and strength simultaneously, the two traits most associated with magnetism. Modern evolutionary psychology frames it as signaling reliability. Ancient texts would call it Shiva energy, stillness that allows Shakti, the dynamic feminine principle, to flow around it. The metaphors differ, but the human reading remains identical. Composure is compelling. Yet this path is not about denying pleasure or demonizing sexuality. Suppression breeds tension. Transmutation breeds purpose. When desire arises, a conscious man doesn't fear it. He observes it, breathes through it, and channels that charge into movement, creative work, art, study, or loving connection. Over time, he experiences sexuality not as compulsion but as communion, an energy exchange that strengthens rather than depletes. This perspective integrates ancient tantra with neuroscience. Orgasm is one expression of energy, not its only outlet. Learning variety in expression, physical, emotional, creative keeps the system balanced and avoids the frustration that strict abstinence can bring. Modern life, with its constant noise, makes such mastery both difficult and necessary. The average man's attention span competes with infinite scrolls, notifications, and synthetic desire. Choosing self-discipline today is revolutionary precisely because the environment rewards distraction. Practicing mindful sexuality or periodic abstinence becomes less about moral purity and more about nervous system hygiene. It reclaims agency from algorithms. Each moment of choice, turning off the screen, delaying gratification. Meditating through an urge strengthens the neural muscles of willpower that support every area of success. Fitness, business, relationships, creativity. The transformation isn't overnight. Early on, many men face restlessness or doubt. The brain protests the loss of easy dopamine, but persistence rewires reward circuits. After weeks or months of balanced adequate sleep, nutrition, exercise, mindful control, the baseline mood rises naturally. Confidence grows quieter yet more stable. Decision-making accelerates because mental clutter diminishes. Scientific language calls it improved executive function. Spiritual traditions call it awakening energy from the lower centers to the higher. The vocabulary differs, but the lived experience aligns. Clearer mind, stronger body, steadier heart. Ultimately, the discipline surrounding sexual energy is less about bodily fluid and more about identity. To master desire is to master direction. The same force that can scatter a man's will can, when guided, illuminate his purpose. Biology gives him the tools, testosterone, dopamine, focus, but character determines how he wields them. Success, attraction, and peace then stop being random outcomes and become reflections of coherence. Body chemistry, mind intention, and life mission moving as one. In that unity, ancient wisdom and modern science meet seamlessly, proving that the oldest path to power has always begun in the same place, inside one's own control. Before we conclude, make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel, and do not forget to drop your location in the comments. I'd love to know where you are watching from, and if you ever have any questions, join our Telegram channel where we interact directly and help each other grow. The link is in the description.